I look at some of the women that say they're married and have children and wonder like what the risk tolerance level that man has and why he didn't love himself, or like what value he has to place on himself to what he would marry that woman. And then I've seen men that I've gotten to know like outside of a service level. And I'm like, bro, how do you have so many bitches?
Pretty said something earlier. I just wanted her to clarify it.
What?
About she said that there has to be disrespect before cheating. I wanted her to clarify that, and I wanted to know if everybody else agreed with that.
I can expound. Whenever cheating happens, like it doesn't just come like in my opinion, I consider cheating to be a form of emotional abuse. And so before you get to certain levels of abuse, there's initial types of abuse. There's negging, there's the putting down, you don't look the way you used to, you don't do what you used to. Oh, this is what I can get. This is what I think I'm deserving of. Whatever that may be. Oh, whoever makes this much money, they can do this for me. Like there's going to be something else that is causing you to second guess your place and your position in their life. And that is a form of disrespect, especially as a partner, because, you know, he's not even listening. So, because I think that like when you are in a relationship with somebody, you probably shouldn't be comparing them to anybody else. You probably should be having a conversation with that person about what you miss about them and, you know, maybe what's missing in the dialogue. But oftentimes, whenever somebody has their eye on the outside, whenever somebody else has their eye on the outside, then what that typically means is that they're already thinking about it. So before physical cheating happens, emotional cheating happens, disrespect happens, insecurity happens, all of that happens.
Okay. Well, I guess so from Trev's perspective, I think that makes sense, right? Where he says that men are cheating for specific reasons. From my perspective, it's untrue because from where I come from.
Oh, well, you said it, you cheat, period.
Yeah, like, no, I didn't say that I cheat. I didn't say that. But I said from where I come from, like the culture is like, guy treat you like the best thing smoking. He's still gonna fuck something, you know? So, you know, I don't think it's necessarily like you're being disrespected in different ways. You can think that y'all have a great relationship and then just find out like you
Where
cheated
do
on
you
me.
come from?
I come from Philly. I come from, you know,
ladies
city.
never go there. That's the dark lands where the sun does not shine.
Yeah, but so I didn't mean specifically Philly. I just meant the inner city. At least the inner city black culture that I come from, which is in different places.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago, and it's the same, right? Growing up, that's just what, to a certain degree, right? It almost becomes so much of a cultural norm that women are made to believe we just have to deal with it. Like men are just gonna cheat. It's just in their nature. It doesn't matter. He can be ugly. He can be fine. He can be in between. He cheating, right? That's just what you end up dealing with. So I agree with him on that one. And you don't have to have any cues beforehand. You don't have to be doing anything wrong. He just does it because he wants to.
Ugly niggas cheating is wild.
It happens though.
Yep.
Listen,
and that it's always like
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just saying that when I see it or when I think about it, there's certain niggas that I look at and I'm like, bro, you should probably not.
You should probably not, but they do. You know?
No argument.
Is commitment a risk or responsibility?
Both.
Like, I agree with Willie. It's both.
I look at some of the women that say they're married and have children and wonder like what the risk tolerance level that man has and why he didn't love himself, or like what value he has to place on himself to what he would marry that woman. And then I've seen men that I've gotten to know like outside of a service level. And I'm like, bro, how do you have so many bitches? Like, it just doesn't. And I'm not talking about like the regular smuggler chicks. Like, he got like women that niggas really want. And it just doesn't make sense to me. But then, so when I leave with curiosity a lot of in real life and just like, hey, I ask and he's like, man, shit, I dog these hoes and women like men that are dogs. Or I see the girl, like, what made you marry him? And she being real, she's like, he just came at the right time. Like, so, and that tells me that, again, a lot of women are settling. I can't commit to someone that I feel is a risk. If I feel you're a risk, the fact that one, you have to earn my commitment because of everything that comes with it. So I'm not in the position where I'm in the inferior position as far as leverage goes. So before I can just be like, hey, I'll commit to you, I have to do a risk assessment on you. Like I look at your character, all those other things. But then for my internal piece, like, am I attracted to you enough to where at this phase, because this is probably the last phase of my life, I don't think there's much more evolving that I can become as a man. So in this phase of my life, do you fit what I'm looking for? Because if you don't, then I understand that, again, being in a position that I've earned where I can be ultra hypergamous, I know that that'll happen. Like I'm very, very transparent about it. I left my ex-wife for somebody else. No issue with it. That's because I wasn't going to cheat. That's how then, we got back together later. So I don't have an issue, doing it. But at the same time, I don't ever want someone to think like, oh, okay, well, yeah, just committing to somebody is easy, y'all, whatever. That's the craziest shit in the world. I don't think those two things are like even opposites in this particular situation.
All right, that's our tie hands first, and then Pretty, whichever one.
I'm gonna ask one question because Pretty had a hand up first. So Willie, I just want to deep dive a little bit more if you want to expound.
Go ahead.
You left your ex-wife for somebody else because you felt like that was a level up, and you didn't want to.
No, not because it was level up. Because my ex-wife was giving me she just wasn't doing what I needed her to do, and so when I say I left her, I filed for divorce and left,
right.
And then
y'all got back together later.
Yeah.
Y'all still together now?
Fuck no. Yeah, I filed for divorce twice.
Okay. So you say you go through a risk assessment. What does that process look like for you? Only speaking because you went through this risk assessment twice, right?
So that's the problem. I didn't go through it the first time.
The first
time I got with it, she was bad. We got along. She didn't have kids, and we just clicked. Then because of where I was, so it just worked. And then two, we were both in the military, so different branches, but we were in. So it just worked then. But then as we got together, we grew apart. I identified the fact that we were growing apart. We did the counseling, all of that cool shit. And then there were just certain things that I needed that I didn't need when we got together, but I did need then that I wanted from her, and same thing for her that I wasn't willing to give her because I didn't feel like it was a good investment. So I chose to end the marriage and leave. So, and a lot of people think when I say I left her for somebody else, it's that I cheated and left. No, like I left, like legally left, and then came back. But the risk assessment that I performed the second time, which is what, when I realized that I hadn't done it the second time, is why I left again. Because like I'm still not getting everything that I need. I'm still not getting the big things. She's doing some of the other stuff right, but then there was some other stuff, like you've heard the story, like Marcus, you heard it. So like there's other things that happened. I was just like, yeah, this ain't it. And
that's the same woman.
Fuck no. But we've talked about this. No, hell no. So, but the thing is, like now, when I realized I didn't do it, that was 6-7 years ago. Since now, like where I am now, I looked at her like, okay, cool, risk assessment. Is she gonna be a bill? Is she gonna be a burden? Is her past going to be an issue? That's a huge thing for me. Like Dallas is a very small city, regardless how big it really is. And you would be surprised at how many of your homeboys have hit so many women in Dallas. So has she fucked any of my friends? I went through all of these things and got to that part before we could even start dating. And then before I committed to her, it was, can I see her being a mother to my children? Can I see myself investing in her long term? Can I see myself wanting more for her than she wanted for herself? Can I see myself being completely loyal to her, physically, emotionally, mentally, all the leaves? Once I said yes, then I committed. But that was a conversation that we had. It's just that there was a lot of growth between now and then the 7 years from now when I was starting.
Wow. I'm so glad I was here tonight. So to answer this question, all the shots I've heard Willie take on Black feminists and how can anyone be married, maybe his marriages would have worked out if he would have focused on himself and what other men are choosing. Because what's funny to me is that he seems more concerned about the men who are married to Black feminists and not about his twice divorce large behind. And so, like, for me, honestly, I'm gonna be real. Like, I'm so happy I was here today, y'all. Thank you for the invite, Lapeef, because this has now been the third or fourth time I've been on a panel with Willie, and he's been hostile every single time. Very hostile. I was wondering, like, what is the deal? Other than the obesity, what is the problem? Like, what is causing him to be so upset? And I realized that, like, you could not manage to vet, not once, but twice, the same woman. So when you're saying, hey, we can't cheat, find a man who can't cheat, you were the man who couldn't cheat. You were the man who had to go back to the same woman twice because you didn't have options, right? And then when you went back to the same woman twice, it didn't work twice. And somehow you have men listening to you as if you were an expert on how to vet. You're sitting here talking about being in Philly and knowing her body count and who she slept with. And I made sure I did, and it still didn't work. So for me, I do think it is quite interesting that how you started off your answer to this question was, I often wonder why these women are married or how these men are married to these types of women. Because they can and you couldn't. That's the answer. Because they could get them and you can't. That's the answer, right? How are they doing it? Because they can and you can't. I am so happy I was here tonight. Thank y'all.
Okay. What you about to ask, Ty?